Hi guys, welcome back. In this video, we will see how we can perform an operations by using a post method. Till now, we have seen how we can use an postman and use and get operation and run some computation or retrieve the things in a form of an JSON object. Now we will try to do is try to use a post method because post method is one of the thing like which will be used in many IT companies because like there will be a number of parameters that you can wrap in a form of a dictionary or in a JSON and you can pass it for your backend, and it tries to gather all the data and do some processing and it retrieves the output from it. And even this post method can be even used in an uh, like terminals as well by using a curl operations. So so post method as a really it is an one of the uh, best method that you can use in an IT to do multiple things and to wrap the multiple content data in a form of a JSON and to do operations on that. So let's see how we can do that. So as of now, like we have done a simple basic code. Now let's try to do some complex code. So now we will try to do some we will give some numbers, try to do some calculations. So we will give two numbers and give what method we need to follow, whether it is an addition or a subtraction. Based on that, we will compute our things in our backend by using Python, and we will retrieve we will wrap the result in a form of an JSON, and we will be giving it for an front end users. Just think, this is our one of the this is our one of the uh, thing we are trying to do. So now let's see, like we will be getting a data from our front end and we will be wrapping all these things and we will be performing. So now let's start the code. So if now let's start with an giving an root of that endpoint of the URL. So call it as an cal. You can give it anything as per your convenience, and the method here would be a post. Okay, till then now we are giving it as a get. Now it is a post. Now let's define function called as a cal, and we don't require anything from here. We don't require any of these things mentioning a parameters here because we will be wrapping it in. We will be decoupling, like we will be coupling the dictionary in an UI, and we will be posting it. Once it reaches our Flask app, it will be decoupled. So how we can do is, let's take an object. Let's define an object, and with respect to the request itself, we can use a get data. This is one of the utility of the request module itself. And let's see what is that, what we will get from this object, and what is the type of that object we will be wrapping. And let's return an JSON object with as something done. Okay, and let's try to see. As I said, for a post method we need to use a postman. Okay, I see like we got some error. So what is that? Okay, so it is raising some error because we have not done anything in this. It is flashing some error. So let's try to rerun it. Yeah, you can see like I have not given a proper URL, so that is an error. So it must be always we must follow the like a standard syntax for providing an URL. So let's go for let's run our app and let's go for our postman. Till now it was a get method. Now let's change it for a post method, and let's give our URL as a cal, and here we can give it in a form of a key and value also. But I suggest you to try with a body because this is a main method. This is a main thing we will be doing in many cases. Okay, so let's try to run this. Like you can see, it is nothing but in JSON. It is a JSON object you will be passing, you will be pushing. This is what it happens in a real time in an industry as well. So let's give it in the same format. Let's try with the same format as well. So now let's post the data for our cal, and you can see it is done. It is not computed anything because we have defined a method as an addition, a as 1 and b as 2, but it has not done anything. It has written done. Why? Because in our code we are returning only a done. But here you can see whatever the content has been posted is printed here because we have printed that object, and the type of an object is a bits. So what you can think is we will need to convert this data in a form of a JSON, right? So you can try to import a JSON library. Uh, this is an inbuilt library that will be present in Python. And what you can do is you can convert this object into a JSON object. How we can do is like by JSON dot load, you can convert this object into a JSON object. Now let's try to again post the data from our Postman. Let's try to post it via post, and it raised some error. Okay, it is not load, it actually loads. Okay, so now let's again try to pass it. Now as soon as I pass, you can see it is an done. So we not got any error in that function. So you as soon as you need to note down that if it is raising some error means the API, like whatever the stack or whatever the metrics that has been mentioned in that specific function of the API is getting breaked. It got broken, so you need to fix where it is going wrong, and you can debug in such a way that as soon as I got an error, I fixed the error. Like, okay, this line is getting failure. As soon as I pass my data for this URL, this function get executed, and in this line it is getting break. So I need to make sure, I need to fix it. Once the things has been fixed, this API will run as it is. So that's the debugging technique you need to follow when you are doing with respect to REST API. And here you can see now it has been converted into a dictionary. So dictionary is nothing but in JSON. So whatever the bits data has been we got has been converted into a form of a dictionary. Once we got that, we can easily do our computation. So now what are the keys we are presenting? It is a method A and B, right? So we can, what we can do is if A is equal to we have an object dot get A. If A is not there, then it must be 0. And make sure one thing we need to be sure is if we are passing in numbers, right, it will be in a whatever the objects that is wrapped in an dictionary or passed from our URL will be in a form of a string. It, so you need to do the typecasting. So what happens is it will be in form of an the one whatever we are getting here, right? It is a string, not an integer. So you need to make sure you perform in typecasting. So you can, what you can do is you can typecast it for in a form of an int or a float as per your convenience. So now let's try it for the same thing for a B object as well, B key as well. Dot get B. If B is not there, it will be 0. And now method is equal to, like as I said, it is an object itself. What you can do is you can do object dot get method, and if it is not, method is not there, default we will do addition. Okay, so if method is equal to add, what we need to do, C is equal to A plus B. Okay, if method is equal to sub, C is equal to A minus B, and now result will be our C, right? So instead of let's wrap it in a proper way. What we can do is like our output will be like method is equal to what method we have given and what is the first value we are giving, that is an A. Let's track all the variables, like instead of just leaving it in a backend, let's track all the variables. That is a good way that you can even use it in our code debugging as well, because everything you will be coding and you will be invoking that module in this specific file, right? So let's gather all the variables that has been passed from a front end for a front end to back end, so that we can have a track of that. And now the result will be C. Okay, now let's wrap it in a form of a JSON file again. You can even do the JSON, you can just return output also, even that is also work, but it would be a safer side if you use a JSON file utility every time. So now if we try to do, now let's see, like, now if I try to send this dictionary object or a JSON object for my URL, it tries to compute, and here you can see as I have given an add method, it took 1 2 and computed my result, and it got retrieved. Let me try with a sub, and let's try it. You can see the method got for a sub, and it is a -1. What if I give some new key called as a C? Okay, and one thing to be sure, like we are not looking for a C key in our backend code. We are not looking for a C key here. If we have a C key, then it will be working. If it is not there, it will not break our pipeline. It will execute for A and B and retrieve the results. Let's try. Let's change the things and let's see the code. And you can see it is a 0 because it is not looking for a C key. Okay. What if I not give the B value? Instead B value I gave a C. Um, you can see B is a 0 because why it is 0? The default value is 0 here. If the key is not present, then it will defaultly assign the value that whatever we are given here. Okay, so this is a way we can do it. And another thing, is it necessary to use justify every time? Unless until it is an dictionary or in JSON object, it is using an justify will not impact much. If it is not a dictionary or a JSON, then this justify will help. Let's see, like now I am not returning it in a form of an justify object, right? Now if I try to run, now if I try to run and see, even though it works, because we are wrapping all our output, in a form of an dictionary, so it will work. So now I think you got an idea of what we need to do in a form of an post and what we need to do in a method of a get. So you can see, like what are the changes, key changes. One is an we are using a same request module itself, but here we are looking for an arguments, and arguments is a dictionary, and here we are trying to get it in a form of a data, and it is in a bytes data. So we are converting into a JSON object by using json.loads, and you can see what are the variables I am passing, and again I am retrieving it in a form of a dictionary, and from that dictionary I am looking all the keys whichever required for my model. Let's think, now I made my own function called as an dev.add, and it takes two variable. Okay, and it returns addition of both of these variables. So what you can do is, you can basically call that function here instead of manually doing this. You can call that function here, and you can pass the variables, and you can try to run your code, and it will work as expected, as it is an addition function. Let me change my method and let me go, and you can see it is doing the addition perfectly as per our convenience. So you can make your own custom modules or custom functions, and you can you can fetch the arguments from your front end in a form of a dictionary, and you can pass that arguments whatever you got from your front end in a form of an parameters to your functions, and that function will perform your computation, and it will return an output that can be stored in a variable or in an any key, and that one you will be wrapping it in a form of a dictionary at last, and you will be sending that JSON object to the front end again. You will fetch the content from in front end, you will compute it, and you will response back the output that is computed from the content that is given by a front end. Again you will give it back all the you will do the computation and will return all the content for your front end again. So this is a way you can use and get and post method. But now why we need now this is a normal piece of code that you can even anyone can do, but the additional thing what we are trying to do is we are doing a Swagger documentation. What is Swagger documentation and what is the uses of that Swagger documentation? We will discuss that in our next video. Thank you.